You're waking up with Josh, and joining me on the show this morning is the Mad Chatter from madaboutsports.com.au. He's our very own sports guru, and he's been taking a look at some of the big issues in sport this week. Good morning, Mad.
Good morning, Josh. How are you?
Excellent for a Thursday morning, mate. It's been a big week in sport. I've been looking forward to chatting to you, especially because Benny Cousins is retired. Plus, I heard the news yesterday about these two Aussie soccer stars who are fighting with each other. Plus, I'm really looking forward to finding out who's this week's Pelican of the Week.
Yeah, Josh, it has been a big week, and last week we named the English Rugby League referee, Steve Ganson, as the Pelican of the Week for allegedly punching out an 87-year-old grandmother, and we had some good nominations come into the Facebook page this week, but I guess I'm pleased to say that the Pelican of the Week, it's going to another Pommy for what I think is probably the worst excuse ever given to the police.
All right, I'm looking forward to that one. Now, the big news this week was Benny Cousins retiring from the AFL.
It was big news indeed, and you know, there were 6 television stations I read online the other day that actually crossed to cover the Ben Cousins retirement announcement live, and there were certainly plenty of radio stations in Melbourne that crossed and did it live as well. And you think, you know, with less than a week to go before the federal election, you know, media agencies aren't even crossing live to Julia Gillard or Tony Abbott in the lead up to the election. So for them to stop what they're doing and cover this live, it just shows you how big an issue this really was.
Do you reckon he's going to be remembered for being the good footballer or for being a drug taker?
I think time's going to tell with Ben Cousins whether he's remembered for the highs he had on the field or for the highs he had at the after parties and probably brunch the next day and the highs at lunch the next day, and really, you know, any other opportunity he got during that time where he seemed just to be getting arrested or being caught on film every day for just doing something stupid. Look, I really hope he's remembered as the bloke who started out as an 18-year-old for West Coast. He's played over 260 AFL games. He won a Brownlow medal, and, you know, he's the bloke who helped West Coast win the 2006 premiership. I'm pretty glad he was able to retire with some dignity, because at one stage, you know, his life was going down the gurgler. You know, he was in and out of rehab probably more than that Lindsay Lohan. You know, he had a rap sheet from the police as long as Shane Warne's mobile phone bill. So, you know, I was pretty happy that the Richmond club gave him a second chance in the AFL, and they sure were instrumental in getting him back to doing what he does best, and that's kicking the Sheridan football around the oval. And I hope he's not lost to the game, and there is talk that he may coach, and, you know, if he ends up back in coaching at West Coast, then, you know, he's certainly going to be familiar with that team song, We're Flying High.
In more ways than one, I'm sure. We'll chat to the Mad Chatter once again in just a moment about these two Aussie soccer stars that are fighting each other. Plus, I'm looking forward to finding out who's this week's Pelican of the Week. Joining me once more on Wake Up is the Mad Chatter, and we're chatting about some of this week's big issues in sport. Now, I heard in the news yesterday about these two Aussie soccer stars that are involved in a public verbal lashing.
Yeah, Josh, the players are Harry Kewell, and it's his former Socceroos teammate Robbie Slater that's been digging a knife in a bit here. Robbie Slater's a panellist on the soccer TV show Fox Sports FC, and he last Sunday wrote an article in a Sydney newspaper that basically said that all the Socceroos and all of Harry Kewell's teammates, they just didn't want him around anymore, and Robbie Slater even quoted an unnamed Australian player that basically said he wants Harry Kewell to F off. So, you know, you can imagine Harry Kewell was pretty upset about all this, and he actually rang the Fox Sports FC studio on Tuesday night when they were live to air and basically gave Robbie Slater both barrels whilst they were on air. So, look, it's a big issue. They were teammates, and I think it's pretty fair to say that Robbie Slater's not going to be receiving any more Christmas cards from that Harry Kewell.
Almost certainly will not be getting any Christmas cards there. All right, let's hit it. The last one, Pelican of the Week. Who is it?
Look, Josh, we had some great nominations come into the Facebook page this week. You know, we had people voting for Ricky Ponting for saying we were going to win the Ashes 5-0. You know, that's certainly not going to happen at the moment. There was nominations for Dustin Johnson. Now, he's a golfer who missed out on playing in the final of the PGA the other day because he actually broke the rules of golf. But anyway, look, they're all good nominations, but this week's Pelican certainly has to go to English cricketer Graham Swan for telling police what I believe is probably the worst excuse you could ever give for drink driving. The police pulled him over the other night, and his excuse to them was, listen to this, Josh, that he was out trying to buy a screwdriver so he could get home to his house and pop up the floorboards so he could rescue his pet name, his cat, which was called Max, you know, apparently stuck under the floorboards. Now, he'd been out drinking with his mates all night. He was out driving his Porsche around, and fair dinkum, that's got to be the worst excuse anyone's ever given the police. You know, Graham Swan, you know, he must have been stuck into those Swan lagers, because fair dinkum, he couldn't spin a story to the police. He's a spin bowler for England. You'd think he'd go better at it than that, and, you know, he could have taken a leaf out of Warney's book and at least blamed his mum mine, not his pets. So, I just think, if this story actually is true and he was out looking for his cat at 3 a.m. in the morning, that's pretty sad and probably even funnier than the excuse he did. So he is a battler, and although Graham is a swan, he sure is worthy of being named Pelican of the Week.
All right, look, most importantly, do we know if Max is okay?
Oh, Max, look, I think he's well enough, Josh, but believe me, I don't think he's going to testify and help Graham Swan get off the hook this time. I think it's all over for him.
The Mad Chatter from madaboutsport.com.au. Check him out online or find him on Facebook. Mad, chat to you next week.
Thanks, Josh. Chat to you then.